Welcome in the class of human physiology. In previous class, we have discussed general aspect of digestion, the basic digestive process, that is motility, secretion, digestion and absorption. We have also discussed about the digestive tract and the accessory digestive organs. So in this class, we will cover digestive tract wall and the regulation of digestive function. So in this class we will cover the digestive tract wall, their structure and the regulation of digestive function, also the regulation of the digestive activity through neural as well as hormonal pathways. The digestive tract wall has same general structure throughout most of its length from the esophagus to the anus, with some local variation characteristic for each region. So from the innermost layer outward they are the mucosa. The mucosa consists three layers, that is mucous membrane, lamina propria and muscularis mucosa. The submucosa layer is there and the muscularis externa that have outer longitudinal muscles and the inner circular muscles and serosa. The mucosa that line the luminal surface of the digestive tract. In this picture we can see the structure of the mucosa from the lumen to the serosa, and the mucosa has three layers, that is mucous membrane, lamina propria and muscularis mucosa. So the mucous membrane is the primary component of the mucosa and an inner epithelial layer that serve as a protective surface. So it is modified in a particular area for the secretion and the absorption. So the mucous membrane contains exocrine glands for the secretion of digestive juices, the endocrine gland cell for the secretion of blood-borne gastrointestinal hormones, and the epithelial cells that is specialized for the absorbing digestive nutrients. So the lamina propria is the thin middle layer of the connective tissue on which the epithelial rests. So it houses the gut associated lymphoid tissue. I am repeating again, it has gut associated lymphoid tissue that is also called GALT, which is the important in the defense against disease causing intestinal bacteria. So the muscularis mucosa is a sparse layer of smooth muscle, is the outermost mucosal layer that lies adjacent to the submucosa. The submucosa, which is also called under the mucosa, it is a thick layer of the connective tissue that provides the digestive tract with its distendability and elasticity. So it consists the larger blood and lymph vessels, both of which send branches inward to the mucosal layer and outward to the surrounding thick muscle layer. So also a nerve network known as submucosal plexus lies within the submucosa. The muscularis externa. In this figure we can see the structure of muscularis externa. It has two types of muscles, that is outer longitudinal muscle and inner circular muscle. So it surrounds the submucosa. In most part of the tract, the muscularis externa consists of two layers, that is an inner circular muscles and the outer longitudinal muscle. The fiber of the inner smooth muscle layer is encircle the tubes. The contraction of these circular fibers decrease the diameter of the lumen, that constricting the tube at the point of the contraction. So during the peristaltic movement, it play an important role, and the contraction of the fiber in the outer layer which run longitudinally along the length of the tube, it shortens the tube. The inner circular muscle and outer longitudinal muscle of the muscularis externa that produce the propulsive and mixing movement in the GI tract. So another network of nerve is called myenteric plexus, which is present in between the inner circular muscle and outer longitudinal muscle. So together the submucosal and mesenteric plexus along with the hormone and local chemical mediators that help regulate the local gut activity. The outer connective tissue covering of the digestive tract is the serosa, so which secrete a watery fluid that is called serous fluid that lubricate and prevent friction between the digestive organ and surrounding viscera. So throughout much of the tract of the serosa is continuous with the mesentery, which suspend the digestive organs from the inner wall of the abdominal cavity like a sling. So this attachment provide relative fixation supporting the digestive organ in proper position. So while still allowing them freedom for the mixing and the propulsive movement. The digestive motility and secretion are carefully regulated to maximize the digestion and absorption of ingested food. So there are four factors which is involved in the regulating digestive system function, that is autonomous smooth muscle, the intrinsic nerve plexus, intrinsic nerves and gastrointestinal hormone. Now we will analyze the autonomic smooth muscle function. The autonomous smooth muscle cell is a specialized type of cell present in GI tract that has a pacemaker cell, and it is like a self-excitable cardiac muscle cell, and it displays rhythmic spontaneous variation in the membrane potential. So the prominent type of the self-induced electrical activity in digestive smooth muscle is slow wave potential, also called the digestive tract basic electric rhythm or BER. The muscle-like but non-contractile cell is known as the interstitial cell of Kegel. It is the pacemaker cell that instigates cyclic slow wave activity in the GI tract, and this pacemaker cell lies at the boundary between the longitudinal and circular smooth muscle layer. Now we will briefly discuss about the interstitial cell of Kegel. Before proceeding, we should rememorize our concept and structure of the GI tract. So this structure belongs to the circular muscle layer, and this one is the longitudinal muscle layer. The myenteric plexus lies in between the longitudinal and circular muscle layer, and this is the submucosal plexus. The interstitial cell of the Kegel were first described histologically by Raman Y. Kegel, and these stellate cells are specialized smooth muscle cells that receive input from the nerve fibers within the myenteric and submucosal plexus and also communicate electrically with smooth muscle cell in the longitudinal and circular muscle layer. So there are several separate functional class of ICC. A network of ICC-MY cell that lie within the myenteric plexus between the longitudinal and circular muscle layer. So these cells set the rhythm and trigger slow wave because the smooth muscles cannot originate the slow wave. So this is the interstitial cell of Kegel that set the rhythm and trigger the slow wave. So a second network of ICC that is called intramuscular ICC or ICC-IM is dispersed among the smooth muscle cells. So in the small intestine, the ICC are concentrated at the inner surface of the circular muscle layer to form the ICC DMP that denote deep muscle plexus. The interstitial cell of Kegel are connected with smooth muscle cell by the gap junction through which charge carrying ion can flow. Electrical activity initiated in a digestive tract pacemaker cell that is spread to the adjacent contractile smooth muscle cells. Thus the whole muscle sheet behave like a functional syncytium, becoming excited and contracting as a unit when threshold is reached. If threshold is not achieved, the oscillating slow wave electrical activity continue to sweep across the muscle sheet without being accompanied by the contractile activity. The slow wave are not actional potential and do not directly induce muscle contraction. They are rhythmic wave-like fluctuation in the membrane potential that cyclically bring the membrane closer to or farther from the threshold potential. If this wave reach threshold at the peak of depolarization, a volley of actional potential is triggered at each peak, resulting in rhythmic cycle of muscle contraction occur. The intrinsic nerve plexus are the two major network of nerve fiber, the submucosal plexus and the myenteric plexus, that lie entirely within the digestive tract wall and run its entire length. The digestive tract has its own intramural nervous system which contains as many neurons as the spinal cord has. It contains about 100 million neurons and endow the tract with a considerable degree of self-regulation. Together, these two plexuses are more often termed as the enteric nervous system. The intrinsic nerves are the nerve fiber from both branches of the autonomic nervous system that originate outside the digestive tract and innervate the various digestive organs. The autonomic nerves influences digestive tract motility as well as the secretion process, either by modifying ongoing activity in the intrinsic plexus that alter the level of gastrointestinal hormones secretion, or in some instances acting directly on the smooth muscle and the gland. The sympathetic system, which dominates in fight or flight situation, tend to inhibit or slow down digestive tract contraction and secretion process. This action is appropriate because the considering the digestive process are not of highest priority when the body faces an emergency. The parasympathetic nervous system, by contrast, it dominates in quiet rest and digest situation when general maintenance type of activity such as digestion can proceed optimally. The parasympathetic nerve fiber supplying the digestive tract, which arrive primarily by way of the vagus nerve, tend to increase the smooth muscle motility and promote the secretion of digestive enzyme and hormones. The postganglionic parasympathetic nerve fibers are actually a part of intrinsic nerve plexus, and they are acetylcholine secreting output neurons within the plexus. The autonomic nerves, that is vagal nerve, can be discretely activated to modify only digestive activity. One of the major purpose of a specific activation of extrinsic innervation is to coordinate the activity between different regions of the digestive system. So for example, the act of chewing food reflexively increase not only salivary secretion but also stomach, pancreatic and liver secretion via the vagal reflexes in anticipation of the arrival of the food. Now we will briefly discuss about the endocrine gland, which are present in the GI tract. The endocrine gland are tucked within the mucosa of the certain region of the digestive tract, and on appropriate stimulation it releases the hormone into the blood. These gastrointestinal hormones are carried through the blood to other area of the digestive tract, where they exert either excitatory or inhibitory influence on the smooth muscles and exocrine gland cells. Surprisingly, many of these same hormones are released from the neurons in the brain, where they act as neurotransmitter and neuromodulator. So during the embryonic development, actually certain cell of the developing neural tissue that migrate to the digestive system, where they become the endocrine cells. The digestive tract wall that contain three types of sensory receptor that respond to local changes in the digestive tract. There are three types of receptor which is present in GI tract, that is chemoreceptor. It is sensitive to the chemical component within the lumen. The mechanoreceptor, which is actually a pressure receptor that is sensitive to stretch or tension within the wall of GI tract. The osmoreceptor is also present in GI tract, that is sensitive to the osmolarity of the luminal content. The stimulation of these sensory receptor of digestive tract wall can elicit the neural reflexes and the secretion of the hormone in the GI tract, and that alter the level of the activity in the digestive system effector cells. The effector cells include smooth muscle cells for the modifying motility, the exocrine glands for controlling the secretion of digestive juices, and the endocrine glands for varying secretion of the gastrointestinal hormones. Now we will understand about the how receptor activation, which is present in GI tract, that can alter the digestive activity. Actually, the receptor activation may bring two types of neural reflexes, that is short reflexes and long reflexes. So when the intrinsic nerve network that influence local motility or secretion in response to the specific local stimulation, all elements of the reflexes are located within the wall of the digestive tract itself, that is a short reflex takes place. So because the autonomic reflex involve long pathway between the central nervous system and digestive system, they are known as long reflexes. The gastrointestinal hormone are triggered directly by local changes in the digestive tract or by short or long reflexes. So in this figure we can understand the short reflexes, long reflexes and hormonal pathway. Actually, the short reflexes is denoted by the blue line, the long reflexes is denoted by the green line, and hormonal pathway is denoted by the pink line. The local changes in digestive tract can stimulate the receptor present in the digestive tract, and the external influence both can brings the long reflexes to the extrinsic autonomic nerves. The extrinsic autonomic nerve that can bring the long reflexes to the smooth muscle that create the motility, the exocrine gland cell that secrete the digestive juices, and the endocrine gland cell that secretes the gastrointestinal and pancreatic hormones. The short reflex begin when a local change in digestive tract happen and that stimulate the receptor in digestive tract that bring a short reflex to the intrinsic nerve plexus, and that can alter the activity of a smooth muscle, exocrine gland cell and the endocrine gland cell. The hormonal pathway initiate when a local change in digestive tract happen and that can stimulate the receptor in digestive tract. The hormonal pathway can generate or secrete the gastrointestinal hormone, and it can also alter the smooth muscle activity, exocrine gland activity and the endocrine gland activity. This is the references which I have listed here. You can go with the Sherwood, Guyton and Hall textbook of medical physiology, as well as the human physiology and integrated approach, the principle of human physiology, or the principle of human physiology written by the Carpenter. Thank you for the listening, and I am cordially inviting you for join in the next lecture of the human physiology. Thank you very much.